Welcome to the world of stand-up.
Well, she has merch now. She has her emails merch now. Dude, Andrew Schultz did a post this morning saying, bro, she's in the game because Biden ain't got no merch.
No. Well, he does.
Yeah.
It's just not merch he likes.
Yeah. Well, before we started recording, you were saying that like the MAGA hat is the teardrop, like the Andrew Schultz bit about MAGA hat being the conservative white dude's teardrop tattoo. That guy doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
How hard do I want my day to be is what his bit says.
Right.
That's great. Yeah.
That's it.
Welcome to the show, bro.
Thank you.
You seem massive.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've been eating a lot
Are you
of
an
donuts.
agent? Are you like a massive agent?
Totally.
You're a totally massive agent.
Yes. Self-proclaimed.
Well,
Yeah.
not anymore, dude. Like you have a nice little following with your peeps, and
Yeah.
so they call you your self-proclaimed name, which in a weird way, like co-ops it out of your realm.
Yeah, it's wild.
That's wild marketing,
Yeah.
dude. You call yourself something enough, and other people start to call you that same thing, and then it's no longer yours.
Yeah. It shows how the name of your business, the name of your brand, it's not that important.
Do you know what adjective comes to mind when I think of that?
What?
Massive.
Yeah.
That's just massive.
It's used all the time, too.
It's totally great.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I made it up one day. I was walking my dog.
That's a manly word.
Right?
If you look at the word massive, it just feels like a dude.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, my wife didn't make it up. Yeah.
Well, you didn't either, but somebody somewhere was like,
Right.
I like this word.
Yeah.
It's in the realm of mass.
Mass-ish.
See, mass-ish is a bitch word. You can tell. It's like, it's mass-it. No,
You're not committing.
it's not committed. It's halfway there. Speaking of not committing, you were talking about how great your microphone was?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, my Shure.
The Shure SHIT model?
Dude, I think it's fantastic.
Really?
Yeah, because I went from the Blue
MV7?
Yeti. MV7, that's the one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great.
Dude, I
When you
think
go
this
from
is
the Blue
hilarious to
Yeti.
talk shit on microphones. It's fun for me because I am a Shure guy. I love Shure.
I know, you're a
The
microphone
MV7
snob.
sucks, and I'm sad for you that as a ridiculously successful podcaster, you don't even know.
No, I don't know. I've used the Blue Yeti for like 200
Oh
episodes.
my god, dude! So I get.
Yeah.
So at least
Started
that's
with that.
somewhat of an upgrade,
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Had the Blue Yeti, had the $10 arm that would like creak when it moves, you know?
Yeah.
I had because I had to have the stupid, the spit filter thing.
Yeah, the pop
filter. Yeah. So then I got the MV7, and I'm like, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
Going from a $100 mic to a $250 mic. This is great. I'm living large.
Yeah, you upped it by 20%.
Yeah.
25%.
It's a massive difference, my friend.
Oh, there's the massive word. You did it again, bro.
A massive difference.
So when you became the massive agent, you started clearly incorporating this into everything you describe.
Not intentionally.
Okay.
Yeah, but I certainly
Are
noticed.
you okay with me ribbing you? I want to make sure that we're friendly here because I'm kind of being a little bit of a prick.
We're
But
good.
it's for fun.
Yeah, we're good.
And so I hope you're not like, this fucking guy, dude.
Well, I knew what I was walking into here.
Okay, well, I'm still your friend. I'm
I know.
still friendly.
Right. This is friendly shit.
Even though you have a horrible microphone.
Yeah. Dude, imagine what I could do with one of these then.
I know.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. That's
Right.
what I'm saying, dude.
But do I need it?
Of course you need it.
Right. I've shown that, like, for 4.5 years, I have a decent show. People comment on the
Don't you want
audio
a
quality.
great show?
Do you need the fancy? I don't know.
Well, if that's where you're at, I don't know how to.
Now, I'm at the point where I
You've been
don't
through
mind.
upgrade, dude. What the fuck? What's coming out of your mouth right now, dude?
this is good.
like I got
a
like
good
you're
point.
like Tron like level bad program. Like this is
This is some good Master Yoda tough love shit right here.
Yeah.
Because you're right. Plus, it's like, who doesn't like getting new toys for the business? You know?
I actually bought one of those MV7s and I used
Yeah.
it for a week, and I'm like, there's no way I'm going to use this ever.
Coming from one of these?
Yes.
So what's shitty about it?
The MV7 is built as a hack for people that want to use USB mics but really think it's cool to be able to have it be an XLR mic. It's the most horrible XLR mic ever.
Okay.
It has no features, no nothing. There's no protections in it. When you record with it as an XLR mic, you have to do all sorts of like processing to get it to sound good.
Okay.
The USB aspect of it is decent, but you're
Yeah.
paying for two things that you don't need to pay two things for. Either get a really good USB mic or get a legit XLR mic and be done. You don't have to like. That's like having a convertible minivan. You don't need that.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah. What,
Those
the
exist?
convertible minivan?
Yeah.
100% they do somewhere.
Yeah. Right.
Some schmuck made one.
Remember
I'm sure.
the Subaru Baja? Like the fucking, let's take a Subaru Legacy
Right.
and make it a pickup truck?
Right.
Dear God.
Dude, that was... Did you know, like this is a true story, did you know that the Subaru executives, when they came out with the Legacy and the Outback, they legit wanted it to be the lesbian car? And everything about their marketing was to appeal to lesbians.
I think I heard that actually, like recently.
Yeah.
Well, mission accomplished.
How brilliant is that, dude?
Right.
They're like, what subset of the population is going to have decent jobs, great credit? They're going to have a chip on their shoulder about making sure they buy what's theirs, and they are outdoors a lot? Like, Subaru, Outback, there it is.
Brilliant. $1 billion idea, literally.
Yeah, they should have called it the Subaru Scissor or something. I don't know what it would have been.
A scissor kick.
Did you pick up one of those scissors?
Dude, I don't know
Feels
what it is.
amazing to drive it.
Whenever I notice Subarus,
Yeah.
it's never a good thing. Like, so I remember driving up by the university one time. There was a Subaru. It had all this like, trees are the answer.
Coexist on the back and
Most likely.
Yeah.
Like all
I'm
this
with her
environmental
stickers.
shit, right?
Yep.
And that fucking car rolls the window down at a red light and throws a bag of Taco Bell trash out the fucking car.
so great.
And I almost didn't. I'm like, no. I'm like, seriously, that
Yeah.
really happened?
Yeah, dude.
And I've seen others throw cigarette butts out. It's always fucking Subarus that I notice people throwing garbage out the window.
Well, I made a joke one time on stage where like I think that every like Subaru WRX comes with like an extra vape charger.
It needs it,
It needs it because you always lose your vape charger.
right? And
When you're
with
on
the
that-
frequency they're puffing those things, they need backup.
Yeah. I think it's funny now how like a lot of these vape things, they look like walkie-talkies and shit. Like I don't know.
That's so not a world I'm even familiar with. Like I see people carrying around these like
Here's the
bomb
thing.
detonators.
I don't. There it is.
Yeah.
You're not in that world, so you don't know. You're like, oh, that looks like a bomb detonator.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks like the flux capacitor from Back to the Future.
Yeah, exactly.
This looks like the special thing that is what you use to turn the two keys for the nuclear launch.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, it's just strawberry cheesecake vape.
Like why
That's
are they
what it is.
carrying this weird remote control from the 90s around? Like I don't get it. And then they suck on it and they blow out strawberry
they're like-
mist.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Or I don't know, Heath toffee candy bar taste.
Heath Bar, yeah.
Yeah.
Do they have Heath Bar?
Dude, they've got everything.
They probably do.
Dude, this is when I lived in my old house over in Mill Creek. There was this guy that I became friends with. Actually, I was trying to sell a guitar on KSL,
Okay.
and I ended up meeting this guy, and he ended up wanting to buy all my extra shit. He was like, and he was a guy that would make vape juice. That was his main living. Like he'd put in these little bottles, he'd batch up the
Wild.
whole thing and everything, and then he would sell them to all these vape shops because this was before anything was regulated, right? Dude, this guy was tweaking on nicotine 100% of the time, like scratching himself and everything. And dude, they can make any flavor into that. I mean, they could make motor oil as a flavor, and there's probably somebody be like, you know what, it reminds me of when my dad and I would work on the car when I was a
Right.
kid or whatever.
Yeah.
But
It's some dude deciding to make vape juice and make a living from it. Like there's no
God
excuse.
bless America, right?
Exactly. And there's no excuse anymore with smartphones, with access to the internet, to not make a decent living doing something. Like I don't understand
it's just a
the
belief.
level of struggle that people decide to go through. You know?
I love the way that you said that, the level of struggle that people decide to go through, because it is a decision.
It is.
You can either
It is.
focus on the difficulty of the moment, or you can focus on the ambition of the moment to make something work for yourself.
Yep.
There's so much ways to make money.
Yeah. And dude, I know what it looks like because I spent the majority of my life, deciding to make it hard,
Right.
deciding to struggle.
We still talking about money?
Aren't we?
Ayo. All right,
Yeah.
sorry.
All of it.
All of it. I decided to make it hard.
Yeah.
I get it though.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for.
Took me a minute.
It did.
Yeah.
Getting hard usually does.
But forget the room I'm in. Fuck.
Yeah. You should look at the sign there. It'll tell you. We talk about serious things here. We talk
Nice,
about,
by the way.
we talk about non-serious things here. So
All of it.
Dustin Brohm, ladies and gentlemen,
My man.
on the podcast. Thanks for making time for me,
It's
dude.
an honor, dude. Yeah. When you asked me to come on, I'm like, fuck.
Did you get my rider where I'm like, you have to come in a Bill Epstein and a Bill Clinton, Jeffrey Epstein T-shirt, and you have to wear your hat backwards.
Totally.
And you have to wear shorts.
We
And you were like,
negotiated
dude, I
that.
got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We went back and forth, my agent and your agent, like
Yes.
our people were talking.
There were a couple sticking points. We squashed it.
Yeah, and you were like, but I'm not coming clean shaven. I'm like, bro, I don't even care. Like, it didn't. We're good.
Right.
And I was like,
Yeah.
because it's a very controversial shirt, dude, pull the mic away for a second so we
how
can see
great is
that
that,
shirt,
right?
bro. See, I love a buddy. I love buddy comedies. I mean, look at those two. Look at
Yeah.
look at what riff
They're like the
raff those got
Step Brothers.
into. Yeah, like
Yeah.
that's what's it? What are the stepbrothers' name? It's Brendan and what's the other one?
I don't remember their names.
Yeah, Brendan was Will Ferrell and
Brendan and Dale.
Dale and Brendan. Yeah,
Dale's one of their names.
Dale. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
John C. Reilly,
Dad,
the characters.
sometimes we shit with the door open. We go on riverboat gambling trips. Like, that's Dale.
That's Dale.
Yeah, that's John C. Reilly. I didn't realize what a great actor he is. He's so great.
He's so good.
Did you know he was in Boogie Nights?
I did not.
Yeah, he plays an actor in Boogie Nights.
Wasn't he in Star Trek? Like one of the Star Trek shows?
Probably.
I think he was in.
He's one of those actors
Deep
where you
Space
could just
Nine?
make something up and be like, didn't you know that he was in, like, you know?
Yeah, no one's gonna fucking check it. It's not
Yeah.
not worth the time to Google that.
Did you know that he was in Twilight? Like, I didn't.
Yeah, he was werewolf number 13.
Yeah, he was Jacob's great grandfather.
Yeah, man.
Anyway,
Yeah,
thanks for
I
coming on
had
the
to
show.
wear this because whenever I post a video wearing it, it's an engagement booster.
And here's the
Yeah.
thing. I didn't tell you this, but I was juxtaposing it with my own version of a controversial T-shirt with my new Lions Not Sheep with an AR-15 on it.
With your war machine.
With my war machine. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a high... It's an assault rifle, even though an AR doesn't stand for
I was
assault
offended
rifle.
the first time I saw it.
Offense is a fun feeling, isn't it?
It totally is.
You're like, why do I care?
Yeah.
I'm so triggered right now. Mm-hmm. And the irony of being triggered by a gun because the gun has a trigger.
See, I was triggered because I'm like, shit, I need another one.
Dude, I wanted to represent Lions Not Sheep, man. It's been an interesting week for my boy Sean.
Yeah. So I didn't even hear about it until they started talking about it and responding to it. And I'm like, what? What happened?
Dude, I had so many of my like actual friends text me links from some bullshit article, be like, what's up with your boy? Where's all the lions at? Their pride is gone. Like they're comics or some shit, trying to act like they're funny with their wordplay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shut up. It's all not true. Like,
yeah.
And I was actually in the process of like creating almost like an explanation video, kind of like what Sean did when he was like, look, dude, yeah, I paid a fine, but all the stuff that they're saying isn't because the reason why I paid a fine is because if I didn't, I was running the risk of having my business shut down while I fight this bullshit fucking fine.
Right.
And I didn't want to expose my
that?
people that. And the whole like made in China shit is totally bogus. Like,
right.
There's actually now news articles that have been written about his video that he just did like 2 days ago where he explained everything. And I was like, all right, truth is getting out
How
there.
awesome is that?
That guy casts a massive shadow, dude.
He does.
Dude.
Yeah, I mean, so much respect. And when he posted the stats in his story, like his traffic was up 940%.
Oh, dude, they're selling so many T-shirts, dude. I had people reach out to me. Like, I produced their show. Like, he's my friend. It's not like I'm a part. Like, I'm in that community. You know, I'm a member of the Lion's Den and everything. But it's
You're not their
like
spokesman.
No. I'm just a guy that likes their. I'm friends with Sean. And I like their shit, right?
Yeah.
So to like have me all of a sudden be the resident expert on something, it's laughable. First of all, and then secondly, I'm like, go fucking read.
Yeah.
If you read the FTC report, it completely rebuts exactly what they're saying. It's nonsense.
Yeah.
But anyway, where I was going with that is that like
I
had so many people DM me, be like, dude, the FTC has made me a Lions Not Sheep buyer now. I'm like, as it should. You're not the only one. And Sean's proven it. Like their traffic is up by their revenue's like 300% this month over normal.
Like Trump getting his place raided probably, got a lot of people that were like, I don't know, to be like, okay, there's something not right about that shit.
Oh, dude, that is a move that is going to backfire. You made Trump a martyr. Good job, people that wanted him out of the race.
Yeah. Nice move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. So tell me about what it's like to be a massive agent.
Well, it's weird when you say it like that.
Yeah.
But
it's massive is what it is.
Yeah. It is. So
all jokes aside though, like you really do have like you've created this community.
Yeah.
You help real estate agents.
Yeah.
It's your content's great. Like it's all, solutions based. You're helping people overcome stupid shit that they might be dealing with in their businesses.
Yeah.
Where did you get started with that? You're a real estate agent as well.
Yeah.
So
I've been for 11
why that
years.
angle?
Yeah. So the first four or 5 years of my career, like I just struggled dramatically. And I was following someone else's playbook, like, hey, here's how you need to do real estate as far as attracting business. And I didn't like it, didn't feel good. It was all chasing. And because I hated it, it just wasn't working for me. So out of necessity, because I was basically starving to death, I Googled like how to get real estate leads. And I learned about attraction marketing, specifically with blogging, writing articles. Google indexes them. People find it when they go to Google search, and they get into your ecosystem. And it was a total paradigm shift. And I'm like that's fantastic. Like I don't have to call people. I don't have to try to convince anyone of anything. I just create content. And I didn't know how to do that at the time, but I liked the concept, so I just dove into it. And within a few months, I changed my real estate business. I had people organically finding a YouTube video, finding my website, going there, calling me and saying, "Hey, we need to buy a house. You're our guy." And I was used to like competing with 4 other agents and going to interview for it. And they're like, "No, like we're hiring you." So it showed pretty quickly that attraction marketing for me was where it's at. So then I just dove deep and learned social media, paid advertising, all the different ways to make content, and really loved it. And pretty soon realized I'm a marketer who sells homes and a content creator that sells homes. And I got really fucking good at that. So then I just started sharing that with other agents, and they started to eat it up. And a podcast was kind of like something that I always wanted to do, because at that point I'd been a content creator. So 4.5 years ago in January, I was walking my dog New Year's night, listening to Pat Flynn, Smart Passive Income.
Yeah.
He's talking about how great podcasting is and how powerful it is, and getting attention. And I'm like, something about how he said it made it sound so doable rather than just like this thing that's on the list to do. So I literally walked back to my basement office, didn't know how to do a podcast, but I'm like, I'm just going to record something. So I took a microphone, and I think I recorded it on my iPhone that night, just a voice note. Recorded the first episode, bought a mic on Amazon, my shitty, Blue Yeti mic, and just started rolling with it.
Dude, I think that I love that story. I will say that I think shitty USB mics like the Blue Yeti, or like my first one, which was a Samson something track, and then I got a Audio Technica AT2020. Like, you got to deal with the shit mics.
Yeah, because you don't know it's a shit mic.
No, you don't.
And honestly, like, it's better to start than to have nothing.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, so
100%. Well, that's an interesting kind of thread we could go down, because first of all, what I'm hearing from you as you describe this is that you were a self-starter. You figured it out yourself.
Yeah.
That alone, the willingness to do that puts you in a different league. Now, you don't have to do that to be successful. Like, I know, like, my clients, they're not that. They're like, I want to pay somebody, and I just want to talk.
Right.
And I love that, because that means I'm really good at this shit. I have complete control over making sure the direction of what we create is in line with what they want to experience as a result.
Yes.
Because I didn't have that. And I'm sure that you probably experienced some of that too. When you first start a podcast, you're more focused on the technical aspect of what you're getting out, not the message.
Right. Well,
and you're like,
you have to do both.
Well, you have to, but for me, I know that, like, when you go back and listen to my very first episodes it was called Rules of Success back then. It was a great, dude, so overproduced, bro. Like, I went nuts. Like, it was as produced as like a documentary soundtrack. Like, I legit went in with like tons of sound effects and transitions and the whole shit.
Damn.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
But if you were to listen to that, you couldn't pinpoint who the avatar was. Like, who's this guy trying to appeal to? Because it was all over the place.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I narrowed it down that it started to actually really get traction. And then when I did that, it started getting big. And did you have a similar thing? Have you ever gone through like a name change or a rebrand of your podcast? It's always been Massive Agent Podcast?
Yep.
Wow.
Always has been. And so I've gotten really good from that moment. Like, before that moment, I wasn't really good at this, but I got really good at being decisive and just running with shit.
Okay.
And I had heard before, because I had been doing personal development for 5-10 years prior to that. And I knew that, like, Google meant nothing until they made it mean something. So as I'm walking my dog, before I went back to record that first episode, I'm like, the term mega agent came to mind, like these agents that sell, 700 homes a year.
Right.
I'm like, well, what's bigger than mega? And I'm like, massive agent. And literally in that split second, I made a decision.
Okay.
Never second guessed it again. And I felt fucking stupid calling it and me and the whole thing massive agent. But I just got so busy focusing on putting out good stuff, I just didn't care anymore.
Good.
And pretty soon, like, it became something that people recognize.
Isn't that space between a weird space where you've made the decision? You might feel like you're sharing, like, a little bit embarrassed about it, but you're still all in.
Yeah.
You're making the content. You're doing the thing. It's not growing as fast as you want, but you're still committed to it. And you're doing it. And you still have to, like, maintain all the work and effort and everything, hoping it pops.
Yeah.
That's a weird place to be in.
It is. Yeah.
It takes a lot of resolve to stay in that place. That's why everybody quits. Did you know that the statistic is 7 episodes is what most people make it to on their podcast?
I believe that.
I believe it too. I watch it happen, dude.
Yeah. And I'm sure you get this all the time. is it too late to do a podcast? There's so many podcasts,
Nope.
right? There's so few podcasts that are active.
Well, there's so few podcasts that are good.
And good active ones, yeah.
Dude, every time I have like a call with a potential client, I say to them, my commitment and my mantra is to rid the world of shitty podcasts. And the only way to do it is to make better ones.
Yeah.
So we're going to make one that's great. Okay, you on board? And like I totally frame the whole thing. It's like, I'm not going to work with you unless you're committed to excellence on this. Like, we are going to do something with your show that makes a dent. Because there's so many crappy, dude. I rail against Anchor FM all the time. Fuck Anchor, dude. All these like low hanging. You can do a podcast just from your phone.
They built a hell of a business, Anchor.
Oh, Anchor did for sure. I don't knock that hustle. But from like the bigger picture of what we're trying to accomplish, there's what 2 million podcasts on Apple iTunes or Apple Podcasts, and maybe 8 of them are good.
Right.
I mean, it's more than 8, but
I heard. I think this was around the beginning of the year, but of the 2 million-ish total podcasts worldwide, all genres on Apple, that only like 600,000 were active, meaning that they had produced or they published a show within the last 60 days. Only 600,000 were actually active.
I totally believe that, dude.
Yeah.
I'll have this. So like, this is why I believe that is this. Podcast names are kind of venturing into the realm of almost like domains, where it's like, I wonder if that one's available, you know?
Yeah.
And we'll come up with a good name, and then I'll go search it. And I'm like, well, there is one already, but that has 3 reviews, and it hasn't released an episode in 2.5 years. Like, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
We're coming in hot.
Yeah. Take it.
Yeah, take it.
Yeah, they don't own that shit.
No, it's not trademarked.
Yeah.
But
Podcasts are they're powerful, man. I mean, just getting your voice out there in general is powerful. Podcast is just a hell of a way to do it. I mean, if you have a YouTube channel that gets 10 minutes of average watch time, you're crushing it.
yeah.
Social media posts, if they're like going for a few days, you're crushing it. A podcast, you'll get 45 minutes of average listen time on an hour-long show every fucking week.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is. Well, and that's if your show sucks.
Yeah, and that's if you're like mine. Yeah,
It doesn't suck. What are you talking about?
no, it's a decent show, but
No,
it's not. It's not
dude,
like
shut up, man.
It's not like the clouds part.
Shut up, dude. You're talking shit on yourself. I refuse to allow that to happen on my set. Here's the reality, dude. You have a very niche podcast, and for the people that works for, it works for them.
For sure.
That's what makes the show great.
Yeah.
You don't need 10,000 listeners every week. You need fucking 50, and to have them do what you say.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. And luckily, I don't know how to be anyone but me, and so like I'm sure I repel a bunch of people, but you attract the right ones.
Right.
That's the beauty of doing
I
content.
mean, that
at
shirt
all.
alone, dude.
This shirt alone.
Yeah.
I repel the wrong people.
You're like the minor attracted people don't want to.
Yes. Shit.
Dude, I saw a video that like they're trying to make that be the new word for pedophiles because it doesn't diagnose the action of the person. It allows them to be somebody that has that as a challenge without signifying the challenge. I'm like, wait a second.
They're just
you want to
fucking
fuck
with
a
us.
kid? Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about you feeling good about yourself.
No. They're just fucking with us. And how much of this stuff is even real? I mean, it could just be Russia. They're like, here, let's fuck with them a little bit. Let's put this
so
out
true,
there,
dude.
for real. Like North Korea, Russia, China, anyone.
We're in a psychological operation right now.
We are.
And they're fucking with
Yeah.
definition. See, that's the Russians right there. I have to
shit in
sneeze
the
because they're totally in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Monkeypox.
Actually, I believe a lot of that shit, dude. Like, if you think about a lot of the stuff that's being pushed as normal right now,
Right.
and you were to even go back, let's say 10 years, and say, hey, if this was to be something you would see on the media on a regular basis,
Yeah.
what would you think?
Laugh.
10 years ago, they'd have been like, are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
Case in point, let's say there was let's call him a biological male. And this biological male decided to don the name of a woman and then to say that that's how he identifies himself and then was to fucking mop up every record in, let's say, collegiate women's swimming. Okay, just to say, as an example.
Hypothetical.
This is all hypothetical.
Purely, yeah.
And was to win, the championship at that level.
National championship.
If you were to 10 years ago explain that scenario, you know how many fucking angry people there'd be like, fuck that. That dude's a fucking cracked in the head. That guy's he's sandbagging because he can't fucking compete. Now it's like, well, we have to honor the experience. It's like, well,
No,
you can dress it up all you want. It's still a biologically superior athlete mopping up ones that don't have the same width, the same length, the same strength. It's sandbagging.
Yeah. It's shit that we would have laughed at. And then if we really started to think about, okay, if that was really happening, no one would allow it. You know, like
Right.
we would just discredit it instantly.
It'd be like, get the fuck out of here, Bob.
Yeah. Do you
Go
think
to the
we're just too
men's
distracted? Do you think we're just way too distracted with all the shit these
I
days?
think it's all very deliberate. Dude, I will put my tinfoil hat on for this, dude. You can watch a systematic and methodical breakdown of the core of things that allow us then to stand on the idea that a biological male shouldn't compete against biological females. And they've removed the different core things about that. I mean, think about this, for example, dude. This is going to be controversial. Buckle up, buddy. I mean, we're ready already.
The table's set.
Here's the thing. Okay. In psychology, if you actually like really get into like the DSM-5 and start really studying it, there is a level of personal responsibility that everybody has towards their own feelings. Okay. Now, it gets a little bit kind of wonky in where that stops and where your responsibility, how much can I be affected by you with it not being my choice? There's a lot of debate on that. But the reality is that nobody can legitimately piss me off unless on some core level I allow them to piss me off.
Yes.
I have control over that.
Yes.
You could say something ridiculously offensive to me and I don't have to believe you. I can be like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Or I can get ramped up and be like, you offended me, right? Okay. But knowing the truth that there's a core part of me that has a decision in that is something that has been thrown out the window. If you think about the psychological ramifications of something like a microaggression, you are pissed off by something that I did on a small level, and so I need to modify my behavior to do that. It's created a generation of fucking mental midgets.
Oh, totally.
They cannot control their emotions. And so they put this out there that it's all this, and it's a race to the bottom. There's no way to win that. So then you have, from that, then it's like, that becomes the norm. It's your responsibility to make sure I feel good about me.
Yes.
Okay. And then you get into these other things where it's like, you know, in whether it's transgenderism or pronouns or the LGBTQIA community or minor attracted people or whatever. And we get in this place where it's like, I'm supposed to participate in your delusion. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Well, if that's the case, then you're a bigot. But well, how am I a bigot? I'm kind to this person. I don't want them to like have a bad life. I want them to experience joy and compassion and love and forgiveness. I want them to be good. I just don't need to participate in that part of their delusion.
Right.
Well, yeah, you do, or you're a bad person. Like,
Yeah.
No, I'm not. And then I go, well, prove it. And then they go, well, this part of the foundation of our core is gone. And so I just get to be an alt-right, ultra-MAGA fucktard that doesn't care about people and is a racist. I'm like, that has nothing to do with nothing.
And
I'm none of those things, by the way.
you're all of those things. Depends on who you ask. See, Twitter would probably label
See,
all
right
of those
now,
things, right?
I could choose to be offended by you, but I'm not. I'm
Right.
like, oh, he's trying to be funny.
You know I'm full of shit. See? The way that society's
No, I know.
reacted is
I'm
to
full of shit.
defend
That's the
bullshit.
bigger part.
Like, we've chosen to, you know, if someone's like, you're a racist, we're like, well, no, I'm not. Like, you just play into, instead of being like, fuck off.
Well, that's
and just-
another part of that sort of core foundational reprogramming on a cultural level that's happening because you can't disprove a negative.
Right.
So
Yeah.
if somebody says you are something, you can't prove that you're not. It's impossible.
Yeah.
And because now the onus becomes on you to prove, like you're in an unwinnable situation. Just like you're in an unwinnable situation, if I am going to take upon myself your offense. I don't want to offend this guy. I got to tiptoe. You could still find me completely repulsive and be offended by me in my efforts to not offend you.
Totally.
Nobody can win. Anyway.
It's a wild world.
We'd like to conclude our banned portion of this YouTube video.
They'll have a big censored.
Yeah. And I'd be offended by that because I would choose offense. You see what I'm doing there? See what I'm doing here? Yeah.
You know, one of my ex-girlfriends, I actually learned something very productive from her. Now, she used it in a manipulative way, but she would say, like, I can't make you feel a certain way. Like, and you've chosen to react to what I've said or done. Like, I didn't make you react that way. So fucking, like, on point, right?
Yeah.
Now, she used it just to be a bitch. But I still think about that. I'm like,
She's telling the truth, though.
she is. She's not wrong.
Yeah.
And I've thought about that, and that's kind of become, something that we teach our kids now. Like you made me mad. Like, well, no, you chose to react angrily to something that you didn't like.
Dude, there's so much bad programming in relationships. I remember in my first marriage, we had the most fucked up dynamic that way. And the relationship ultimately ended because I ended it. And I ended it because I reached this like snapping point where I'm like, there's no fucking way I could ever please you. Ever. And on top of that, even if I could, why would I want to? The way you're showing up, you don't give a shit about me. It became this like power dynamic that was these two codependent idiots that couldn't get along. And so the relationship ended. Then my current wife is completely on the other side of the spectrum. She's like, why are you pissed? I don't give a fuck. Like just really like in her own way, like kind of handles her own shit. And I remember that there was a long time in our marriage, especially in the first 10 years, where like there would be this cycle where like I would want her to participate in aspects of how I was feeling about myself or to help me to feel better about certain aspects of myself, right? And she wasn't into it. She's like, that's not my job. Like, I don't need to do that for you.
Yeah.
And I would have these pity parties for myself, and then it would reach a point where we would fight. And I'd be like, you don't love me. You don't even want to be with me. You don't even like me. And then she would like play along for a little bit, like, shut the fuck up. I do. And then we'd have a moment, and there would be a good period of time, couple weeks, where she was playing along with my delusion, trying to do work for me that I wasn't willing to do for myself. And then it would kind of go back to normal, and the cycle would repeat itself.
Yeah.
And it didn't really change until, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 years in when I started, really figuring that part out with self-development and where I was like, I had to own my own shit. Now, I also recognize that like the two extremes of that, like what I was doing and then how she was doing it wasn't healthy regardless. And so we've been able to evolve to a different place of like real understanding. And there is a real thing in relationship as, marital needs or personal needs. And sometimes you can't meet those needs yourself. And you have to have associations with, the right people and friends and spouses or whatever. Spouse to have it work.
This is Utah, dude.
That's why I had to just differentiate that, because Utah, like, oh, so spouses? We're talking about spouses now? But yeah, it all comes down to the, basically you have to be able to communicate from a place of truth for yourself and then not require the person next to you to participate in your delusion.
Isn't it wild what a journey all of it is? Like, relationships, life. When I graduated from high school, I remember this feeling of like, okay, like now it's time to figure this out. Like, it's just things are going to get easier, going to figure it out. It's just so the opposite. Like you're always trying to figure shit out. There's always something to work on. And the people who don't see it that way, they're the ones that are stuck in the shit. They're like, this is just the way it is.
I had this conversation with my wife yesterday. We started going to therapy in, I want to say January or February of 2022 this last year.
Oh, yeah.
And we've learned some skill sets through therapy to help us and communicate. But if I'm really honest with myself, the entire experience has fucking sucked. I hate it. We had created this pattern of like the days that we would go to therapy, it would dig up all sorts of shit, and we would fight every time we'd have therapy. And there was a couple of times where those fights were fucking doozies, man. Like we're talking like, contemplating separation and all that. And it was like, we just kind of got to this point after the fact and we're like, what the fuck are we doing? Why do that doesn't help us.
Yeah.
That pushes us down a road of like, and so we just stopped going to that therapist. Like we're open to, coaching and other marital things to like, because we want to stay on our game and we want to do what's right. And,
but that setting, that process, that approach just wasn't productive. Like it was putting dirt in a water bottle. Once it, it settles, and then every week you go and shake that shit up again, right?
Pretty much, yeah. That's a great way to describe it. And I don't know. I've been told that it was the therapist itself that was the issue there, but I don't want to. The guy's a sweet guy, and he's benevolently trying to help us work through our problems. So I don't know if that's truly the case, but I do know that it agitated things within Amy and I's person that it wasn't making us closer. It was kind of fucking with us.
That doesn't sound pleasant.
No, it sucked, dude.
And I'm sure that they're great at what they do, just probably an incompatibility.
or we were finally digging up stuff that we had suppressed for so long that there was a no-win situation for the therapist.
You think that just had to happen eventually? Whether it was that therapist or another one, or 5 years later.
Yes, I think that in a relationship, it's something where there's like periods, like epochs. You have the honeymoon phase, epochs, whatever.
Well, no, it's epochs. I'm just like, is that the same word?
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's in like in other languages too. It's like epica or whatever. Anyway. I could see how it's a confusing word.
Some cerebral shit, right?
Yeah. When you're in like these phases, I'll call it phase. So we're not,
phase works for me. Yeah.
So there's the honeymoon phase, and then there's like, you kind of have to. Each phase has a different kind of requirement to get out of the phase, and that's why, like, my wife and I've been married for 17 and a half years. That's a long time. Mm-hmm. We're at a very interesting phase where it's like we know if it can work or not, and there are parts of the relationship that don't. And this isn't about me and my wife. This is about anybody at that level. But there are things that are great. Mm-hmm. And you just all of a sudden have to become extremely self-aware about the bigger picture of the whole thing. Because, like, for example, if you get out of a 17-year relationship, there's a high likelihood you will find yourself in another relationship at some point. So then what? You just have to redo the cycle.
Right.
And is that then acceptable because it's new and it's exciting and you're living your best life at that point? Or did you just give up something amazing for more work that you hope to get to the same level of amazing later? So it just, the sheer amount of time of how long we've been married and everything has really just exposed certain aspects of like us thinking it. Cause it's kind of funny because like your wife as well, like, there's a kind of a clan of a lot of single women that have a few like married chicks that are in there too,
Yeah.
And my wife's in that clan and your wife's in that clan and everything. And my wife and I will have these conversations about like women that have been single for a long, long time. And even some that haven't been single for very long but seem to have it figured out, Mm-hmm. And it's like, these bitches are fucking dumb. Like they have zero context to what they're actually talking about, Like it seems like there's been like a demonization even of marriage. Like I saw this clip that, and I'll stop talking in a second. And you'll be able to talk more, I promise. There was like this clip of like Lewis Howes and Dr. Shefali. You know who she is? That she's like this Indian woman that's been all around kind of thing, talking about how marriage, in an odd way, is a longevity-based model in that people celebrate it as a success the longer that it goes, and that's a shitty metric.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what the growth is, you don't know how the connection is, you don't know how the sex life is. Like we've been together forever.
They could just be enduring.
Right. It could be horrible
relationship. Yeah.
And this clip was being used as a way to promote getting out of your marriage. And I'm like, why would you want to jump out of that just so easily for the sake of loneliness? And like it's not just for the sake of loneliness, but all the other things, like I want to live more of my life and I need to do me and all this stuff. And it's like, my wife actually made the example that really hit home. She goes, that's like not liking having to lift heavy weights, knowing that you get a certain result in your body when you lift heavy weights, and then acting like because you put down the 50-pound dumbbells and picked up the 5-pound dumbbells, that you're just as athletic and strong as you would be in the other way. Look at me, I can do all this, I've got all this freedom. Like, okay, well, you're also becoming mush in your brain because you don't have anything really of challenge to help you work towards being your better. So there's nothing like marriage as an institution to make you a better person.
I am blessed to be around a big group of guys that not only are they like trying to build a massive financial empire, crush business, but it's also in the same breath important to them to be great husbands, to be great fathers, and it's something that they're working on, all of them.
I love that.
It's fucking awesome because there's so many people that have gotten divorced, are about to get divorced, will be divorced, and it's sad, but from the outside looking in, you know, I see you and Amy, I see, you know, other relationships, like my relationship. The relationship got much stronger and better when we started to address shit. Like when some struggle was introduced.
It also feels more like, I'll just add this. When you start to do that, it also feels more unstable.
At the time, for sure. Yeah. But there's something about the struggle, the adversity that makes stuff stronger. It's like, you know, you rip your muscle apart when you're working out, so then it grows back stronger. Like it's the same concept.
Right.
So, you know, while you were talking, I was thinking of, you know, something we were all taught as kids, that, you know, nothing good comes easily. And part of that is horse shit, you know. But at the same time, like the spirit of that, I think makes sense. Like if you have a spouse and you never fight, there's never any arguments, and you're just married for 30 years, that's probably pretty nice.
Oh, you 100% cheat on your wife if that's the case.
Well, it's probably nice, but is it as strong as it could be? Is it as great as it could be? Of course not. It can't be. So there's something about the struggle and adversity that just makes shit better and stronger and awesome and worth it.
That's an interesting kind of wordplay because, you know, you and I have both done a lot of training in this thing called Upgrade. Right?
Yeah.
And it's a lot of neuro-linguistic programming, mental programming.
And it flies in the face of a lot of...
Well, you know, the main guy there, William, talks about, you know, creating a life that's easy and effortless.
Yes.
And being careful how you use the words easy and hard and how you define them. And so the idea of that, you know, saying that says, you know, nothing worth anything comes easy, it's true and it's untrue. It's like, but what is undeniable is that for something of value to be created, it takes attention and effort.
1,000%.
How you determine the ease or the difficulty of that effort and that attention is up to you.
Yes.
So you get to choose your emotions. See what I did? I pulled it all back in, dude. You are the one that makes yourself happy. There it is.
Bam.
Let's wrap it up. I'm
Clip
just kidding. Clip it. I love it though, man. So, what's kind of your MO now with everything you're doing there with the Massive Agent?
My MO, dude. I think I just oversimplify it, and I'm fine with it. So my job is to just share whatever I'm currently going through, whatever I'm currently learning, or just did learn, sharing that in as many ways as possible with whoever the fuck will listen. And so what I found is, rather than like saying, hey, my audience is going to be these people, my audience is the people that are a step or two behind me. That's it. And it makes it so simple and easy for me to just like do a podcast, do a video, because I'm talking to the person that I was yesterday. And I don't really know anything else. Like I'm not the brightest guy. I'm not a fucking genius, but I can certainly just speak to myself yesterday. And there's a lot of people out there who are just like I was yesterday. So being laser focused on that is really what I'm doing, and figuring out how to have more content out there in more places more often. You know, marketing 101. How do you be seen more often in as many places as possible? That's the game. I don't care what you do for a living. I don't care what you're trying to build, but you need eyeballs, as many as possible. That needs to be increasing. So that's what I'm working on.
Nice.
Yeah.
So things like going on other people's podcasts and things are in that realm.
And bringing my own camera to your podcast.
Fucking
you like that?
sandbagger, dude. He brought your own camera to this
savage
show.
Move, right?
It's
This
about
is
as
fucking
savage
gold content right here.
We have 3 cameras right here, and he brought a 4th.
That's right.
Dude.
Mine's not nearly as nice as your Canons, though. Shit.
Well, it's because you have a Shure MV7 mic, too. So
That's the Shure MV7 version of cameras.
yeah, so it's trying to do 2 things that it doesn't need to do at the same time.
Yeah, I guess.
I love and hate that a lot of this podcast has been me ripping on your gear.
It's cool because like it's a
dick move.
with you.
I don't need to do it.
I think it's
funny.
No,
that's my
I get
comedian
asked
side steps in. I'm like, okay, this is T-ball. I just got to swing in it. Like it's just sitting there.
Right. It's fine. It's good. And it's productive because you get asked quite a bit. I do too because I have a podcast. Yeah. Well, what do I need to get started? And like I tell people, like you don't need this full-on fucking expensive studio. Like just get a microphone and talk.
I just give him a Rick Ross quote, man. $1 in a dream. You know, that's all you need.
Right. And that's accurate. Like, that's great advice. But so is doing it right and having great shit and, you know, having proper professional equipment. But when do you get it? I mean,
well, you can buy the right stuff at the jump and spend just a little bit more money than you would have otherwise, and not have to deal with the learning process of having shit equipment.
it's true. And then you could also quit, you know, do 2 months of episodes and you're like, I didn't get any business from it, and fucking quit. Or you just pick shitty topics to begin with that nobody wants to listen to.
Or you're not entertaining.
Or that. Or you're boring as shit and no one wants to listen. Yeah. So you're right. I'm right. Like,
we're all right, dude.
Just get started.
Fucking, we're all right.
Yeah. Just get started with whatever the hell it is.
Just jump. If you want or if you want a podcast, call me and I'll help you start.
See, that's the wise move. So I did what I could at the time where finances were a big issue, right? So I had to do the bare minimum. I had to do the shit all myself. And then I grew into having an editor. So then I can just record, send it off. He'd edit the shit, upload it to my Buzzsprout, and, you know, boom, boom, boom. And then, you know, I upgraded my equipment a little bit, and, you know, I did what I could.
Right.
You know?
Well, I'll be honest. I did the same thing, and that's what started my business.
Yeah.
Because I was producing my own show for a while, and, you know, I was trying to use it to get clients, and it would kind of work. And then I realized that my avatar was all out of whack, that everybody that came on my show was getting more attention and more clients than the guy who's hosting the show.
Yeah.
Maybe stop doing that.
Yeah.
And then I switched it over to a different type of show where it was only my voice and I was giving out advice and things, and that changed it up. And then I started realizing this might be I started seeing offers from people that like produce episodes. And I'm like, I am really good at simplifying things. Like, I can take something complex, create a system for it, and it's really simple. It's ABCD. And I had done that for my own episode production. Because I'm like, so I can get it down to where in the past it was going to take me an hour and a half, 2 hours at an episode. I can create some templates and things, and it can create me 20 minutes, and I'm good. And then I started realizing, so, you know, $50 to $75 a clip. If I was to do, you know, 20 episodes a week for other people, this is the amount of time it would take me. And that's where it started. And so I came at it from an episode production standpoint. And then I started realizing with a lot of these shows that they were dog shit. And I would start giving them advice and be like, dude, if you do this different, it's going to be. And they'd be like, well, where do you get off telling me that in a nice way? And I go, look at my library.
Yeah.
I produced 600 of my own episodes. I kind of know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And, you know, then from there, dude, I used to only charge $1,500 to start a podcast. Give me that.
You get what you pay for. You absolutely get what you pay for.
Well, I didn't have the confidence to charge more.
Right. Right.
It's like
dude, the first time I met you, it was at a Lions Not Sheep thing at their warehouse.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I think I was wearing my Athletic AF shirt, and you knew John and, you know, all that. So we started talking, and you said that John had just inspired you to raise your prices.
Yeah.
And that was the first conversation we ever had.
Yeah.
And that's important, you know, that so many people are afraid to do that, to raise their prices.
Yeah, it's an interesting kind of like it's a mind fuck.
It is
when you raise your prices.
And there's also strategy, you know, like do you want like high ticket clients? Do you want just a lot of them?
Yeah, but here's
like,
the thing:
so
none of that strategy matters if you as a person can't handle it.
Right, 1,000%.
That's where it got interesting for me, is because, you know, because I originally started, and the more that I've charged over the time, the more resource I provide and the more value I give and the more automation I give. And so it's not like I just did the same shitty job I did at $1,500 and now I charge, you know, way more than that.
Right.
But it was a personal journey. Because like when I went from $1,500 to then $4,000, I was like tentative. I'm like, I got to make sure they're really happy. I got to make sure that I deliver in these. Like I became very rigid in my excellence going back to the client. And then when I raised it again and again and again, it's like, it became this thing where it was like, I'm on the hook for that money. They invested in themselves, but through me. And if I don't deliver, they're going to have a shit story. But if I do deliver, they're going to have a great story.
Yes.
And so I focused on the delivering aspect of making so that their shows were awesome and they sounded amazing and they, you know, all the different aspects that make up a great show. And I then still had to, when it came down to asking, like, this is the price. And I remember when I first when I first, and my prices are higher than this now, but like, I first asked for $8,000. I was like, $8,000? And the guy was like, yeah, okay.
With a question mark at the end.
I was like, well, he was already sold. He's like, so what's this got to cost? What's it going to do? I know what you do. I've worked with other people that you have done shows for. What does this cost? And I go, he's like, okay. Like nothing. Yeah. And this guy actually, this is a funny story. This guy actually ended up becoming a really close friend of mine. He lives in Austin, Texas now. I've helped him and his wife with their podcast a bunch of time.
Nice.
And after we kind of made friends and the walls dropped in some of the ways of like the client, provider dynamic, I would ask him, I'm like, how much could I have charged you with you still saying yes? And he gave me this wild number. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, really? If I would have said that, he's like, it would have stung a little bit, but I believed in you, dude. I knew what I was getting into.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't believe him like that, dude.
Right.
And it became this weird sort of like dance. I've also noticed that for any content providers or creators, service providers, your price that you ask is directly reflected as well in what you yourself have paid for your own development.
Oh, absolutely.
So if you like, and it's kind of a ceiling. It's like the more you've paid for something, the more you're willing to charge for something.
Yeah.
It's a weird dynamic dance.
Yeah. Dude, the first big thing that I invested in was Athletic AF at the time, Superhuman. Okay. And I was like, wait, it's like, what was it, like $4,000 or something at the time. Like now that's a deal, Yeah. I'm like, $4,000 for fucking personal training? I'm like, oh shit. But I knew that I wanted their system. I wanted the results that I saw their clients were getting.
Yep.
And so I wrote the check, and guess what? I took that shit very fucking seriously.
Yeah.
Because it was big.
Yep.
To me. And so then that showed me, like, that was kind of my entrance into, like, paying for high-ticket masterminds or, going to events, hiring coaches. And now it's like, what else can I do? Who else can I hire? Because it's such a hack. It's such a hack to just to speed shit up. Even if their information is exactly the same as this person, you're perceive it. Though. You're different. The investment you made in yourself, the energy is different. And so, and the commitment level that you're making internally is different.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's everything.
Well, there's a beautiful psychology with the idea of buying something high ticket that's right on the edge of your affordability.
Yes.
You take it serious because if it goes awry, you're on the hook for that money, dude.
Yep.
But if it goes well, everybody's awesome. So it's like, you're like, I can't fuck this up. Yeah. That's why pricing is an important thing. It's like, there have been times, this has been very, very rarely, and this hasn't been recent. There have been times where like I would, and this had nothing to do with podcasting. This was back when I was doing more life coaching and business consulting type stuff. I didn't have like a set pricing structure. I had a structure relative to where the client was, where I'm like, I need this to sting for the client and him to be on the hook so he fucking does what I tell him to. And so based off of the things and indicators, like they would fill out this thing as far as like where they're at and what their finances were and everything, I would push that boundary because I wanted them to take it serious. Like if I was going to charge $200 for something that I could charge $10,000 for, and the $10,000 is going to make them pay attention and they're going to do it, and the $200 would make them question me because it's way too cheap. And like, I thought this guy was good. Why is he only charging so much? Yeah. Like, there's a different perception too, as far as like what you charge and how you perceive your own value with people that are attracted to your business.
Pricing is part of the marketing.
Yeah,
it really is in so many ways.
It's nuts.
Yeah, but our limiting beliefs get in the way of doing shit. So,
yeah, I had a similar thing. Like, people don't think this right out the gate, but when I explain it to them, they do. Like, when I got my cars, my business went through the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that, I bought my Ferrari. That month right after that, dude, best month I've ever had.
That's so awesome.
Still. And I didn't even have the higher prices that I have now.
Yeah.
Best month I ever had that month, right after I got the Ferrari. And part of it was because of me, and part of it was because of perception. People are like, wait a sec, this guy's doing podcasts, and he's, maybe I should give it a second thought. Like, it validated my results because you can't hide that.
Yeah, it's a hack to boost your own credibility in the eyes of others.
It's weird. We're so predictable as humans.
Right. We are.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't like you, and then you got a Ferrari, and I was like, this guy has a Ferrari? I liked you.
That makes sense.
Right.
It makes sense because you're just a prick underneath it all.
I thought you were just a piece of shit, and then like, he has a white Ferrari now.
Yeah.
This guy's my best friend.
Yeah. Well, you're not the only one that thought.
Right. I bet.
Actually, it was more opposite. It was like guys are my friends, and then I get that car, and they're like, "This fucking asshole. Who does he think he is?" I'm like, "Well, you were my friend, or my friends."
It also helps sort and filter. Right?
Yeah, it's like dropping a drop of oil in water. Just separates it.
It's sad, but because other people see that, and it's not that you got a Ferrari or you have the means to get a Ferrari. It's now they're confronted with their own lack, their own scarcity, their own insecurities, all of that. Like,
dude, one of my favorite comics, Brian Callen, told me this. He said that in comedy, and this relates to this conversation we're discussing, that in comedy, your biggest fan that you will ever have as a comedian is going to be somebody that you've never met, that came across your content, thinks you're hilarious, goes to all your shows, buys your merch. He's just screaming from the rooftops how fucking funny you are. It's all great. He has no idea who you are, couldn't tell you apart from Adam, other than the fact that he found your content and he loves what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Your biggest critic, your most ardent hater, is going to be somebody that knows you well.
I believe that.
It's a close person in your life. And the reason why, when you dig into that, the reason why is that it agitates in that person that you did it. And they knew you when you hadn't done it.
Right.
And now that you've done it, it irritates a part of them that makes them know they could have, had they not been lazy pieces of shit and actually got off their ass and done the work themselves.
Exactly.
That's an interesting thing to dive into. Mm-hmm. What does it say about us as a people, you know?
I know I've been on the other side of that, you know, where I was the one judging somebody else negatively because they had broken out, right? Like they had achieved, and I was sitting there doing nothing, not achieving, not growing, not doing shit. So then naturally I'm like, well, fuck them.
Right.
You know, you've changed.
Well, it's where all the bad thoughts and ideas about money come from, is those scenarios. Oh, he must have hurt somebody or taken advantage of somebody to do it.
How wild is that? When
bunch
literally
of crab,
some of the best
of crabs, dude.
Seriously, some of the best, most generous, kind people I know are the richest motherfuckers I know.
Yeah, I just did a piece of content that we're gonna to talk about that. Money is currency. Mm-hmm. It's an exchange, in and out, in and out. You block that up, blocks up the flow.
Yeah,
blocks up your money. You want to make money? Pay your bills on time. You want to make money? Be thankful for every bill you pay. Know that you can invest in yourself, even if it takes you down to almost nothing, and it's going to come back. Like, it's so energetic. Mm-hmm. But people get caught in that sort of hoarding, deep, negative, finite energy of like, it's not abundant. It's not unlimited.
So this reminds me, there's a wild phenomenon happening. I'm sure it's always happened, but social media amplifies it, right?
Okay.
Spending other people's money. Like, Elon Musk should do this with his money, or so-and-so, you know, I can't believe they bought this yacht. How many people could they have fed with that, you know? And it's always people. The people saying that are
have nothing.
They don't give to charity. They don't do shit because they have nothing. They can't. Their bucket is empty. So, but then they're judging somebody else who's like a wild philanthropist, like Jeff Bezos or somebody.
Or Elon Musk or
any of them.
Yeah.
Like, they're all, you know, philanthropic as hell, and give hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions.
Dude, the best was when Elon was trying to buy Twitter. Mm-hmm. And it was for like $44 billion or some shit. And the year before, like in 2021, he paid $6 billion in taxes.
I think I know where you're
with
going
a B,
with this.
Right?
Yeah.
And they're like, how much good could you do? And he's like, are you fucking serious?
Right.
He even pledged.
Or he's not paying his fair share in taxes.
Yeah. It was hilarious too, because kind of in a parallel thread, he had pledged to the United Nations. He's like, if you can give me a plan that could show you can solve world hunger for $10 billion, I'll give you the money.
Right.
And of course they can't.
No, they can't. I remember seeing that thread, and someone from the UN, was it USAID or UN Aid, whatever, like the person in charge of that shit.
Right.
Just kept dodging the whole deal. And Elon would have. You know, it's like, what's another billion or two or three or four? He just sold his Tesla stock for like $6 billion. Like just yesterday.
He just plays at a different level, man.
Totally different level. And that's what they are. They're levels. Like, we all do the same thing, but like their numbers are bigger.
Yeah. Well, there's you and I both have studied this in Upgrade, that when your values change based off of the familiarity that you have to more wealth. Like when you're a $100,000 a year earner or creator, you have a certain viewpoint of money and credit and growth and toys and all that. And then when you get to 1 million, your value system changes as far as like what you want to do with it and legacy and impact. And then that changes when you get to 100 million and 1 billion. And there becomes a point where it's like, where guys like, Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, like Elon wants to go to the fucking Mars. Like, I don't give a shit about Mars.
No, I'm not thinking
But
about
if
Mars.
I had $300 billion, I might be sitting around going like, well, why not fucking Mars? Why not?
Right.
You're looking at that going, it could cost me $50 billion. That's 1/6 of my fucking wealth.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
It's wild. He's one of the biggest thinkers that we have today. He's like, okay, how do we solve global warming or whatever the fuck it's called now? I can't keep track.
Right.
They change it. They move the goalpost. How do we solve that? She's like, let's start
Climate
Tesla.
change is what it is.
That's it.
Right.
At least today.
Today.
As of the time of recording
this,
it's called climate change.
Climate change. Got it.
Yes. And I'm not saying it's happening or not happening. I'm like, what's the fucking name? Well, he's like, let's just start Tesla and, have this whole green car company. We'll make it the biggest car company on the planet. And then he's like, well, he's like, I'm not too bullish on Earth, so I want to save the human race. That's the level he thinks at. Like, how can we save the human race? So we start SpaceX and, all the Mars shit.
He starts PayPal. Oh, wait, that was before.
Yeah. It started. Yeah.
That's a bad joke because PayPal doesn't save anything.
I remember PayPal sure made eBay, like buying Pez dispensers on eBay, easier.
Yeah, it served a purpose for sure. Well, that's how he made his money. Like he sold PayPal and then he put it into Tesla and SpaceX and he just put it all out on the line.
He is a big thinker and a big risk taker.
Yeah,
but to him, they're not risky. Like I've heard people say he's like Tony Stark. He's like our Tony Stark.
Yeah,
I could see that
without the government contracts for weapons.
I mean, SpaceX. I don't know who knows?
Yeah.
Right?
If you're going off the Tony Stark thing, Iron Man 2, they used SpaceX warehouse to film it, and not Kevin Feige. Why am I drawing the blank? The director, Jon Favreau, based that character, the adaptation, off of Elon Musk.
Really?
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fucking producer B with the not dropping bombs.
Yeah.
I love it.
Hit the nail on the head with that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, he's not as charismatic as the Tony Stark character, but
Who is?
and he names his children algorithms, which are weird.
He's a very interesting fucker.
It's
Yeah.
like, did you ever see the movie Grandma's Boy? Oh, dude,
Was a rocket involved in Grandma's Boy?
No.
And then I have no idea what that is.
It's a comedy with Nick Swartzen and a bunch of the Adam Sandler guys.
Okay.
And it's about like a video game company. It has Kevin Nealon in it, and all the actors' names I'm forgetting. But basically, like they make video games, and one of the main characters is this old guy. And anyway, I forgot where I was going with all that. But it was just there's a reference about Jesus Christ. I have another on-camera thing where my brain just goes flat, dude.
We're going to have to come up with like an oops or something like that.
Oops!
One of
I'm
those.
so glad that I'm not the only one that does that. I lose my train of thought all the fucking time on my podcasts, on my coaching calls, like you name it.
Dude, they're going to take clips from this show in like 20 years when I'm going through Alzheimer's, and they're like, we saw it coming.
There were signs.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's your name again? Where am I? What are we doing?
Yeah. When did we start talking about the president?
Yeah.
When did that happen? Nice little segue.
I don't know. All the time. Anyway, dude, I say we let's jump into our current events segment, man. You want to do that?
Let's do that.
What you got, B?
This has got to be entertaining.
We're
Okay.
going to talk shit on current events.
We'll do this. We can do a current event about countries. We can do health related to diet. We have superhero ones, and then COVID updates.
Dude, you choose, man.
Well then, okay, cool. So Warner Brothers, since they merged with Discovery, has been scrapping a bunch of DC stuff, and they're trying to go with the Zack Snyder storyline and timeline. And as you guys know, Ezra Miller is been out in the public for assaulting a 26-year-old in
He's the
Hawaii.
the Flash guy,
The
right?
Flash, yes.
Although he says, as you know. I don't fucking know.
Okay.
I'm learning.
Yeah.
Ezra Miller,
Isn't he like a they, them, or two?
yes, goes
Okay.
by he, they, or maybe it's they, them now.
doing?
Anywho,
How does that work?
I don't know. That being said, back in April, he got charged with second-degree assault for throwing a chair at a 26-year-old girl at a bar. He also just got arrested for breaking into or having, I think it was aggravated burglary in Vermont, and is also at the Vermont house. Child Protective Services is trying to locate the mother and 3 children who have been residing with Ezra at his farm in the state. So they are DCFS is trying to take the kids from him. And Warner Brothers does not know if they're going to scrap the film yet because it's testing well. And they spent $300 million on it, and it sets up the whole new DC universe. So they're probably going to
They can't bag it.
Are they going to cancel themselves here?
Dude,
they got
shit, it sounds like.
They got 3 options. So the 3 options that they're going for right now
is Ezra the director?
No, Ezra's the actor.
Ezra's the actor. He's the Flash.
Okay.
So the new CEO of Warner Brothers scrapped Batgirl, which was $90 million.
Wow.
This Flash is going to be messing with different timelines, kind of like Spider-Man No Way Home.
Right.
For DC, it was supposed to bring back, man, why am I forgetting his name? Who was the Batman that was in Batman and Robin? Michael Keaton. Bringing in Michael Keaton, Ben Affleck's Batman, a bunch of different stuff. So they have 3 options now. Ezra Miller gives an interview explaining his erratic behavior and does very limited press. He plays no part in the film's production, and the role gets recast, or they completely scrap the film for tax write-off purposes.
Dude, I think everybody loves a comeback story, and the proof that Shia LaBeouf still has a career is proof that this kid could be okay. Because he's doing Shia LaBeouf shit, dude. He's fucking losing his shit, getting drunk, being like assaulting people. That's Shia LaBeouf right there.
Does he still have the camera set up?
I don't know.
Remember when he...
Yeah.
It was in New York or something, right?
Yeah.
Wild.
And you listen to Shia LaBeouf interviews now, he seems like the most calm, level-headed dude. He's still a little bit crazy, but way better than he was. He said he stopped drinking, which is probably good. So yeah, I say they don't scrap it. There's no such, if we've learned anything, there's no such thing as bad press if you handle it right.
And apparently the movie's testing well, and it sets up the rest of the universe, dude, so they're on hold.
If you're looking at this, this is what those executives have to consider.
They're not going to scrap it.
They're not going to scrap it. $300 million, that had to come from somewhere. So they're on the hook from some investor. It's not their own money. It never is. And if this kid's a charismatic actor, he does a good job at the role. If his personal life is shit, use it to amp up the movie.
However, Twitter, which
who gives a fuck? This is the time when they could be like, look, we're not scrapping it, Twitter.
However, me personally, I don't think that he's the greatest. The Flash character is like a jock dude, and his running form is awful. So, you can't be the fastest man on earth and you're running arms out.
So what do you say now? He runs like a they?
Oh.
Right? Is that...
Dude.
I don't know. I don't know the rules.
This is what you do. You make it so that you can't scrap it because he's a marginalized character, man. Like, he's high on the grievance hierarchy, man.
The fact that we're talking about this shit shows that they're going to get more attention.
Yeah.
More people will see the fucking movie.
He's going to be a massive movie star still.
Because honestly, I didn't know about any of this.
Yeah,
none of it.
I'm a superhero.
Did you just say it was massive?
So
Fuck, that's on brand, dude.
right? See, it's burned into my
This
brain.
fucking guy. This is great.
The branding master.
Yeah, I think they keep it. They give him a chance to tell a story. They, get him into rehabbers. They do something that like has it show like a massive effort on his part to fix his shit, and then they'll be embraced because he's a he they or whatever the fuck. Like, you're never gonna see one of those parts of our culture on the cross yet. It's too early.
Mm-hmm.
This is true. Plus, there's so many people that go into making a movie that big that you don't want to scrap it.
300 million, and it's pivotal in all their future.
It's setting
shit.
everything up. Yep.
Yeah. They're just going to use the whole drama, as they should, I guess.
Yeah, dude, it's perfect.
Wild.
Yeah, they're never going to ostracize a he they. It's too soon.
I love that you said he doesn't like his running form.
I know, dude.
He's a horrible Flash. His running form sucks.
You're the fastest man on
If
earth.
his hip gait was different, he'd be so much faster.
Yeah. Yeah.
He needs bigger feet.
He's not striking
Those
the balls.
calves of his are fucking weak. He's gonna blow an Achilles. We know it.
See, this is real shit. This is this is what's the fucking word? Meritocracy.
Yeah,
right.
Got to earn it. Yep.
I don't care who it is, but yeah, if they look like a jackass when they're running, like
if you've
it's hard to
watched
take them seriously.
the Justice League, so he does a good job at the role. I mean, I know that there's a lot of shifts in this Marvel DC stuff where like the character as people portrayed it in the comic book or a different adaptation, they take a completely different direction. I mean, if you look at like the Batman, the most recent one with Robert Pattinson, total different take on the Bruce Wayne character, making him loathe his wealth and making him just be this total fucking weirdo loner, not high on all this like government, researched cool toys, but like he's got like weird shit that he made himself. Like it's a totally different thing, and it worked. It totally worked.
Yeah, they actually based it off of Kurt Cobain. That's why this main song is Something in the Way. Is Matt Reeves, the director, was like,
didn't know that.
If you like, how would you act if you're in your 20s? You're doing this thing where you're taking out. The line is "I am vengeance." Is every single person he beats up, he's taking out the anger from his parents being murdered on that individual. So he said, how would a 26-year-old Bruce Wayne who doesn't want to be in the spotlight, how would he react as somebody who's just been in the limelight his entire life, or as a movie star? So they based it completely on Kurt Cobain and kind of gave that spin on it.
It's really interesting.
So is his girlfriend going to kill him later on? Hey, yo, fuck you, Courtney Love. All right. What's up next?
So in surprising news, apparently, women who eat vegetarian diets are at a higher risk for hip fractures.
You don't say that when you remove protein from your diet, it makes your bones weak. That's crazy.
Yeah, so they've officially been able to prove it now with research. So now it's up-to-date current events. So there's
there was a time in comedy where like vegan jokes were everywhere. And every comic seemed to have like a vegan joke that like it's okay to make fun of vegans because they can never catch you. They're always tired.
Right.
After you.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Have you seen that special on Netflix though about the athletes that are all plant-based?
No.
I've seen bits and pieces, but like people you'd be surprised to be like, that elite motherfucker is vegan or vegetarian?
Is he on anabolic steroids too?
I have no idea.
Cam Newton's he's a vegan because if he eats protein, he was saying he gains like 25 pounds if he eats protein. He's just doing it to keep his weight down to be able to still play quarterback to be lighter and faster. Because if he adds in the protein, he gains 25 pounds in like a month, and his body just.
Well, where does he get his protein then from? Just beans and shit?
Yeah.
Legumes?
I just think some of those athletes who are just that jacked naturally, they could eat just M&Ms.
That's just genetics at that point. Dude.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when I was in high school, like there was a guy that was a 10th grader, and this dude he looked like a middle linebacker, just ripped, barely lifted weights, like just
genetics are a big part of it.
Yeah,
everyone's different too. Like you hear about the carnivore diet.
Hold on though. Fun fact though, he's shaped like a fire hydrant now, so it's not like it's stuck.
Filled out.
He's just square. What were we saying about the?
Everyone's different, you know.
Yeah.
The carnivore diet sounds insane to me. You eat red meat and water. That's literally it. I'm like, you can live that way, and some people do because they have something with inflammation where now they don't have it, and I don't fully understand. But as soon as they have like leafy greens,
Joe Rogan did that for a month. He said, and it was amazing.
Yeah. I think Jordan Peterson or his daughter does it.
Yep, there was an adapt. Like you had to adapt because it was really like it was abrupt on your system to adapt.
Extreme, yeah.
But your system does fine, and then all of a sudden the benefits of it start working.
So it's wild. It just shows that there's more than one way to be healthy as fuck, and everybody responds differently. Like that would probably kill some people,
right?
Or some people like they become elite.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
All right, man. Last one. What you got?
Do you want North Korean news or
just fucking tell me, dude?
Okay. Apparently, according to a new poll, more than 40% of U.S. adults have returned to pre-COVID normal. Survey says
that's it.
40%. That's it.
Seems pretty low,
dude. I don't know, man. I see a lot of masks around still, and that is concerning to me,
especially while traveling.
Yeah,
I've been traveling a lot over the last couple of months, and
I'll get on these like kind of rando threads on either Twitter or other social media apps, and there's a group of people that are still doing that act like they're freedom fighters. Right. I'm the only one. I'm the only one that cares. I'm so good because I care still. And it's like, dude, you're not helping.
No,
except you're being a cuck.
And they still didn't get the memo, or all the memos, or they didn't just care not to read.
Well,
memos.
Hold on. That is a part of that foundational like disintegration that I was talking about earlier in our conversation, where it's like the idea that you can't live without medicine. Your body is great. Right. You give it food, sleep, water, exercise, you most likely don't need hardly anything else. But we've been trained through our media to think that we can't live without all the big pharma stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And so of course now it's like, well, what's the next? Dude, it's hilarious. Like one of my good friends, his mother lives in Southern California, and the barrage against anything related to conservatism or anti-vax or distrust of the government. It's completely like it's the media there is just all on board with everything. You know, big pharma, Biden,
Totally.
anti-Trump, the whole thing, right?
Yes.
She's been fucking boosted like 4 times, and she's been getting sicker easier or whatever. And she's like, I don't know what's going on. This disease is just getting stronger, and and my buddy's just like, Mom, how dumb are you?
I don't want to know the answer to that.
I don't either, dude. It's scary.
Right?
It's scary.
It is. And look, I understand. Like, I've made my choices. My family, we made our choices. I understand choices that were made a year and a half ago when the shit was new and fresh and not a lot of data. Like, I understand. But now, like, if you keep doing the same shit and it literally never works, like, isn't that the definition of insanity?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, the president himself, you know, boosted like a motherfucker.
I doubt he's had a real vaccine at all. I bet you he's in on the ruse.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
That is interesting.
we can talk about that later.
Yeah, could be a whole other episode.
Yeah.
A banned episode, by the way.
A band episode.
One
No,
that-
we're not going to put that on ourselves. We're good.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show, man. Where do people find you?
Massive Agent on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everywhere.
Okay. I love
Easy
you.
to find.
Dustin
Amen.
Brohm, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, man. Fun.